What's up, nerds? Welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry, I wanted to post the entire, 5 days a week in December. Hold on. But I missed a few days because obviously, Christmas and just holiday stuff, it was a lot. So here we are, we're back and we're better. I'm so excited. If you guys did not see the title for some reason, we will be talking about every single book I read in 2023. This will be part one. We're gonna split it up in two parts because I know myself and it's gonna be hard for me to just be like, this is the book and then next book. And if I don't do that, then it's gonna be a long video if I put all the books in one video, all the books together. So we split it up. This is part one. Obviously tomorrow then will be part two. It's gonna be how it is. Maybe next year I'll do it differently. I don't know, but I'm so excited. First, if you guys like yearly reading wrap-ups, if you guys like all the nerdy things, then definitely give this video a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Without further ado, let's just get started. Actually, in January, I only read 5 books. Definitely the beginning of the year, I was reading, very few books. I mean, it just depends on who you are. And then I definitely started reading more and more and more a month. So we started off with 5 books in January. And so the first book I read was Crush. So I had started the Crave series at the end of December. So I did finish basically the whole series in 1 week, but it was, this one ended up in January. So the new year. And so that's by Tracy Wolff. Obviously, then we continued with Covet by Tracy Wolff. And then we also have Court and Charm. This is not my favorite series by any means. I read it early on, so it's kind of, I don't know. It wasn't my favorite series. But we also read the same month, we read The Wedding Crasher. So those 5 books we read in January. And also, it's funny because, honestly, going back, these are, again, not my favorite books. At the time, I really loved them. But, thinking back, I'm like, yeah, they weren't the best books, but, it's fine. Alright, and then in February, I also did read 5 books as well. Seems to be the theme here, 5 books. So first we started off by Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez. You guys know I love Abby Jimenez. I honestly didn't even realize that all the other books not all the other books, but a few the other books that I had from her, I had read, in 2022. I didn't even realize that because I thought I read them all at the same time. No, it was, even longer ago. So that's, again, saying a lot because I love her books. But this is Life's Too Short. This is a good one. I love her writing, and I'm so glad I read that one. And then we read The Hating Game. I know people have, mixed opinions. I love this book. I thought it was so much fun. This is by Sally Thorne. That was a good one. And then we have Radiant Sin by Katie Robert. Again, I thought I started this series in 2023, but I guess I started it in 2022. No, I definitely started in 2022. So this is Apollo and Cassandra, however you say it. But y'all know the tea with those books. I hope you know the tea with those books. And then we have The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. This one was a good book as well. This is interconnected standalone with The Wedding Crasher. So they're you could read them by themselves or together, but I read them in the wrong order. Again, Mia Sosa, I like her writing. I think it's fun, and it's a fun story. It's a unique story. This one's definitely is super interesting, but it's definitely not my number one favorite. Oh my gosh, I need to reread that. You know what I mean? All right, then we have The Spanish Love Deception. I do want to reread this at some point by Elena Armas because no one loved it as much as I did. Okay, very few people loved it as much as I did, and I'm like, what, did I miss something? I don't know. But I also don't remember too much about it, so it's I would have to reread it to tell you, no, yeah, this is a good book, or yeah, no, it's not a good book, you know what I mean? Alright, then we read The American Roommate Experiment, again by Elena Armas, so this is interconnected to The Spanish Love Deception. I love this book so much. I thought it was so fun. I always forget his name. Lucas. I don't know if it's Luca or Lucas, but it's Lucas. I love his character. It was so much fun. It was such a good time. I laughed. I giggled. I was all in the feels with this book. I love this book. I want to reread that one so bad. Then I read basically what is this called? Wicked Villains by Katie Robert series. So I actually read Learn My Lesson first, which technically it's the second one, but again, they're all interconnected standalones. You don't have to read them in order. But this is Learn My Lesson. Then I read Desperate Measures. Then I read A Worthy Opponent. Then I read The Beast. And then I read The Sea Witch. And then Queen Takes the Rose. You guys saw my series rating. I really liked that series. I mean, I read them all like back to back like that. That means it was a good series. And this is literally, I'm telling you guys the order I read them in. So I literally read that in that order. That's saying a lot. You know what I mean? Like that's saying a lot. Okay, so those were, oh, one more book. The other book, I don't have it anymore. I'll pop in a picture. It's called The Wedding Crasher by Jasmine Gilroy. I hated this book. I hated this book and I gave it 4 stars. That's how generous of a rater I was. Like, I literally, decluttered this book. What do you guys call it? I always forget. I literally unhauled this book and I gave it 4 stars. Marissa, it was not a 4-star book. Like, that's how I gotta get my ratings together. But anyway, I read those. I don't know if I said that. So that was March and I had read 8 books. Those are like little novellas. So like they're like 200 to 300 pages. So they're not really long. So technically, like, it was a lot less than 8 books if I was reading full-length books, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, then in April, I read 6 books. This is so much fun. Okay, so first I read People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This was, I think, my second Emily Henry book. I don't think this was my first one. I did not like this book, y'all. I did not like it at all. It was one of my first experiences with split timelines, and I think I hate that. Like, no, I know I hate that now, but at the time, like, I wasn't, like, I didn't know what to expect, but yeah, like, it'll go to 10 summers ago, like, blah, blah, blah. I have a little tab here. Let's read our little tab. Whenever I'm sick, I missed her. Oh, that was cute. When she was sick, he was like, whatever. That was a cute moment. I can see why I tabbed it. But, like, I just did not like this book. I also gave it 4 stars. It's just, I don't know, just what I do, I don't know, at the time. Then I read Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. I love this book. I thought I thought her books are so fun, and honestly, I could probably agree with this rating. I gave it 5 stars. Ali Hazelwood just writes some amazing books that are just a real good time, okay? And then I read The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I actually read this book, like, with Fable, if you will. And that was my first time doing that. I never did it again after this, and I probably will never do it again because it's just not, it's a little bit distracting, if you will. It takes you out of the story a little bit. So I did not love this book, but you know, it's hard to, like, say, like, oh, it's this book, or is it Fable? You know what I mean? Because you, like, kind of stop every chapter and, like, write something. They want you to stop every chapter and write something. You don't, like, have to. If you don't want to, you could just, like, write your final opinions at the end, but I thought it would be cool, and I will never do that again. But this is, Fine Print. I'm overheating for, like, no reason. Okay, then I started the I Am Number 4 series. So this is I Am Number 4 by Pittacus Laura. I loved these books at the time. I honestly, these are ones, it's hard. I DNF'd the series eventually, but it's hard because I really wish that these were still movies. Like, they would make amazing movies. Just book-wise, it's a little bit hard because they're a little bit long, and then they're, like, kids. It's not up to par with, like, you know, books now, but, like, definitely would be a good movie. And then I reread Life and Death by Stephanie Meyer. I love this book. Obviously, it's a reread. I thought it's so much fun. If you guys do not know, this is Twilight reimagined. So all the roles are opposite, basically. So Bella is the vampire, and then Edward is the human. But they're called Edith and Beau. So I don't know if that makes any sense. Anyway, the girl is the vampire. The boy is the human. So it's super unique. Obviously, there's one book, so the ending is super different. It's a good time. I want to reread that. Every time I pick it up, I'm like, I want to reread that right now. Then I also continued the I Am Number 4 series with The Power of 6 by, again, Pittacus Laura. And again, the books, I continued it. Like, so at the time, it was really fun and really good. It's just like, you know, once I started reading more and more, that series started to become less and less exciting to me. And so, it's fine. It's fine, right? It's fine. Alright, so then in May, we read 7 books. So we started off with Loath to Love You by Ali Hazelwood. I love this. This is like a trio of novellas, and then she just combined them in one, like, book. It was so much fun. All the main characters are besties, so you get to see, like, you know, the first couple you read about in, like, the second 2 books, and etc, etc. You know, it's just a good time. They're short, they're quick, you can stop, like, if you want to. I love that. Then I read The Sun and Star by Rick Riordan. You guys know I love Percy Jackson. And this is Nico's perspective, who is my favorite character from the Percy Jacksons. I have to watch the TV show. Oh my gosh. Anyway, this is Nico and Will go to like the Tartarus, and to rescue an old friend. It literally says that, but they do. That's literally what happens, and so it's like a one adventure. I don't know if there'll be more of these. I liked it, didn't love it. Then we read Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, and y'all, this book was good. I feel like her books definitely, like, not definitely, but they get better and better, and which is awesome because they already start off so good, but this book is so good. The main guy is, oh my god, delicious. Oh, Jacob. Yeah. They're both doctors. It's a fun time. And then I read Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I loved this book. I thought it was so good. I know a lot of people who don't like this book. I've seen a lot of people who don't like this book, but I'm like, no. This one is so good. It's a fun time, and I love it too because this is the one where, like, her sister wants her to move, I believe. Yeah, her sister basically, like, is begging her to go to this place, and I don't know, it's a good time. It's not your traditional, like, it's not what you think it is, I should say. It's a good one. Alright, then I read The Rise of Nine, again, by Pegdicus Lore. This was the last full book I read from this series. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time. I've noticed what gets overwhelming is that this book is in, like, 3 different point of views, but, like, they're not titled in whose perspective it is in the title of each chapter. It's literally just a change of font, and I'm like, buddy, that's too confusing. Like, hello. Alright, then I read Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher, so I continued the series. I did enjoy this one more than I liked the first one, but definitely, like, not my favorite book. And then I finished off the series with The Love of My Life, The Final Offer by Lauren Asher. I love this book so much. So good. Callahan. Oh, Cal and Alana. It's just a good time. I've talked about it a lot, though, so, like, it's fine. But, like, just know I love this book. I love that book so much. Alright, then in June, something came over me. I read 14 books, so that was definitely a jump from, like, 7. I think I was 7. Yeah, that was literally double the books. Like, that's insane, but, you know, it'd be like that sometimes. So I started off with Paris is Always a Good Idea by Jen McKinley. I like this book a lot. I loved it, honestly. It was a really good book. It was a fun time. It was super cute, and definitely unique on the unique side. Then I found The Love of My Life, The Temporary Wife by Catherine Amara. This series is the love of my life. This book is really good, but it's definitely the series as a whole that really has a chokehold on me. But this book is so good. If you guys do not know, the Windors, they get in arranged marriages, blah, 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 blah. I've talked about it 100 times. Read the series. Alright, then I read Cherish by Tracy Wolff. Oh my gosh, Cherish by Tracy Wolff. This book is terrible, really. I did not like it at all. It was a horrible time for me. And then I read another love of my life, Dear Aaron by Mariana Zapata. I love this book so much. I thought it was so cool, so unique. I had the best time reading it. This was one of those books, like, I raced to get home to finish reading. Every chance I got, I wanted to read this because literally it was so unique. It's literally just, like, instant messages back and forth, and I've never seen that one since, and I read, like, 126 books this year. Over 126 books because December's not over yet. So we'll see. So anyway, I've never seen anything like it. It was insane. I love that book so much. Alright, then I read The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I really enjoyed this book. This was my first book of the month book. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun time. Is it my #1 favorite book? No, but I think it was just, like, a very good fun time. Okay, then I read The Wrong Bride by Catherine Amara. So this is technically the first one, but it doesn't really matter that much. Kind of, but not exactly. Anyway, this one is a good time as well because obviously The Wrong Bride, what does that mean? It's giving he married the wrong bride, but it's a good time. And then I read Court of the Vampire Queen by Katie Robert. That's all I'll say. Then Miss Allie Hazelwood came out with Love Theoretically, so I picked that up instantly. This was a good time. This was a fun one. You know, I've noticed with Allie Hazelwood books, none of them, like, I couldn't remember, like, if you asked me to describe what happens in this book, Actually, I could remember this one now that I'm thinking about it, but like, it's not like, I don't have specifics or like this detail. I just know that it was a good time enjoying it. I loved reading it. I put it down and I moved on from it. You know what I mean? Like, it was a good time. And that's what I love about her writing. It's just so fresh and fun. You have an amazing time, but it's not something you're like, why did she do this? Or like, you know, it's nothing like, I'm not thinking about it over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? And then I read It Happened One Summer by Tessa Paley. I also read right after it Hook, Line, and Sinker. This is a little duology here. This is a fun time. The girls are sisters and the boys are best friends. Like, yeah, it's a good time. And these are third person, just so you know, but I really did enjoy them either way, so that's saying a lot. Alright, then we've got a little novella guide by Katie Robert. This is The Dragon's Bride. I don't know what I was thinking. I definitely DNF'd this series, and I will not be picking it back up, but I read that. Then I read Dark Succession by Katie Robert. I also do not like the series. You know, like, a lot of her stuff is good. That's the thing. Like, I really enjoy a lot of it. I know that's saying a lot. But, the thing with this one is in third person, so it's not as fun. And then I feel like it's just a little bit, like, it's just not as good. It's not that good, basically. You know? Alright, okay, just throw stuff all over the floor. Alright, then I read Summer Reading by Jen McKinley. I like this book a lot. It's not my favorite book. I thought it was fun. It was corny, cheesy, you know, like, chill. And, you know, it's kind of unique. Like, this print is gimungo because I think it was that the main girl struggles with something, like she can't read. Like, she can't read small print or something like that. Anyway, so, it was super unique. It was fun. Obviously, it's like summer reading. Like, what could you expect? You know what I mean? But, definitely, like, not a favorite book. Not one I think about often or ever, really. Alright, then, last but not least, I read The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams in June. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was a fun time. I do like Sarah Adams' writing, and then I like how her books are, they're closed door, they're, like, super breezy, they're not too long. Like, I feel like it's just the perfect amount. It's less than 300 pages, or right around 300 pages. But they're just fun. They're cute, they're cheesy, they're corny, they're fun. It's a good time. So I really did enjoy that book as well. Alright, and then I started off July with a fun and fresh reading vlog. So we read fantasy romance for a week. I don't know. Yeah, I think for a week. So I started off with The Serpents and the Wings of Night by Marissa Broadbent. Y'all, this book is so good. I love this book so much. It's a good time. It is, like, not long necessarily, but it is a lot. It's a fantasy, you know what I mean? And this was, like, my first step into, like, you know, fantasy romance in the sense of, like, in the booktube, book talk, you know, bookstagram world, and I love this book so much. I thought it was so good. And then I did read A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm so disappointed in this little book, but it's fine. We made it through. And then, of course, we read Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Need I say more? I read this twice already, and I just read it for the first time this year. So that's saying a lot, because I have not reread any books that I read in 2023. If that makes sense. Okay. Then I read, where are you? Six Scorched Roses by Marissa Broadbent. This is the little novella that comes after The Serpents and the Wings of Night. I love this novella. I think it was incredible. I think it was so well written, and I've seen a lot of people who love this novella, and people are like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. It's because you get a full-blown story. You feel whole at the end of this. Like, you feel like you complete it, if that makes sense. Okay, then I read Twisted Love by Anna Huang. Ooh, did not like this book. I don't think I said. I read 13 books this month in July. But I did not like this book. It was not a good book, but it's fine. It's fine. Then I read When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I love this book. I thought it was so much fun. It was a good time. Again, super corny, cheesy, fun. Closed door, super breezy. It just gets you, like, all in the feels. You know what I mean? Like, all in the romance feels. You love it, honestly. You love the whole thing. I don't think there's anything to not like about it unless you, like, you want more in depth or more, like, you know, if you want, like, something this deep and, like, moving, like, obviously don't read this book, but, like, it's a fun time. Like, if you just want a chill, fun book, then you're good. Alright, then I read Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I believe this was all in another reading vlog, but I love this book so much. It started my love for Hannah Grace, and honestly, like, yeah, it's a love, and it's an addiction at this point. I love this book. I love this writing. So good. It's so fun and fresh. Alright, then I read Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. Is it upside down? Yeah. I was not obsessed with this. I wasn't. It's a good book. Did I give it 5 stars? I gave it 5 stars. I honestly probably would change that to like a 4-star maybe. I don't know, maybe I would keep it at 5. I don't know. But I just don't think it's like as good as everyone like hyped it up to be. People were like, oh my gosh, this book I found, it's not that serious. Like it's like a little fun, like corny, cheesy book, but it's like not that deep. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense to anyone. Everyone's like, I hate you, why would you say that? Sorry. Alright, then we read King of Wrath by Anne Huang. I love this book. Whoa. I really enjoyed this book. Did not love it the way I love the rest of them, but I did enjoy that one. And then I read Happy Place by Emily Henry. It's probably my least favorite book of the freaking year. Okay, definitely not my least favorite, but this is probably one of my most disappointing reads of the year. And I don't no, I've been hounding on this, like, really hard because people, like, really love it, and I'm like, I don't know what's to love. Like, I don't know what book you're reading, but it's not the same book. There's nothing to like about it. Alright, then I read The Unwanted Marriage by Catherine Ronner, continued the Windor series, you guys know how I feel. And then I read The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. Don't know why people like this book either. Oh my gosh. I was emo that whole time. I was so bored. I was like, is it gonna get any better or not? It didn't, so it's fine. And then we read Bittersweet Memories by Catherine Amara. I love this book so much. Like, you need to inject me with this book. It is so good. Everything about it is incredible. And I want to reread that so bad. It was a good time. It was a good time. But you can't read it first. You can't read it for the first time over again. You know what I mean? And that's what I wish I could do too. It was so good. So those were the 13 books I read in July. I think we finished off in August, and then we will pick up part 2 in September, okay? Not in September, but starting with September, if that makes sense. Okay, one more month. I'm just gonna pull them for the shelves, but I first read King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. I had heard a lot of good things about Scarlett St. Clair, and I wanted to try it, and I did really enjoy this book. It's vampires, it's fun. I would like to see more, like, the rest of the series. I feel like she, like, forgot about it. But then I read The Ashes in the Star Chris King by Carissa Broadbent. Again, love this series. Thought it was so good. Was that my favorite book? Like, no, but, like, I really love that series as a whole. Then I read I'll Pop in a Picture, Does It Hurt by H.G. Carlton. I hate that book. I don't know why I finished it. I should have DNF'd it, but I finished it, and I don't want to ever think about that book again. Okay? Then I read Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Oh my gosh, you guys know my love for that book. Then I read The Summer of Broken Rules. This is not The Summer of Broken Rules. Then I read Hooked by Emily McIntyre. Sorry. I also, again, you guys know how I feel about this book. It's not my favorite book, but we made it through. I was so mad. I read so many, like, books I did not like in a row, and I was like, okay, like, around Divine Rivals, and I'm like, okay, why? But then we read The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. I love this book so much. You guys know my obsession with this book. It was a good time, and I will fight for that book. I will fight for that book because I know people like to disrespect it, but it's a good book. Alright, and then I read Twisted Games, yo, by Anna Huang. I was like, Anna Huang, are you sure this is the same author as The Twisted Love? Because this is not the same writing. This book was good. Is it perfect, or like, is it like my number one favorite good book? No, it was a really good book though. I thought it was a good story, I should say. I was gonna say well written, but it's not even like it was well written. It was just entertaining, and that's why you love it. So it's hard to even, like, you know, look at like the writing or anything like that, because you're kind of like, oh, it's just fun. You know what I mean? Alright, then I read A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas, and I thought this book was incredible. Like, it was so good. Same kind of thing. I'm like, are you sure you're the same author? Because I don't think you are. I think someone else wrote this book and the first book. I think so. Then I read Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. I thought this book was so good. It's not my favorite. I like When in Rome better, but this book was a fun time. It's not unique, but I felt like it was like maybe a little unique. Maybe it's unique to what I was reading, you know, like what I've been reading, because I still haven't read much like this. It's kind of like, it seems like a basic trope or whatever, but like I don't feel like a lot of people write it like, you know, good girl, bad guy, you know what I mean? I feel like people kind of stay away from that, but that was a good one. And then I read Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I read this in a 24-hour readathon, and y'all, I nearly died, but like, I'm alive. I made it. And honestly, I love this series so much. But then I read, oh, it's right here, Cruel Seduction by Katie Robert. Again, this is the same series as I was talking about earlier. This is, whoa, what do you call it? The Dark Olympus series. This is Aphrodite and Hephaestus. I hated this book. I really did. And I tried to be nice about it at first, like, oh, I didn't really enjoy that. No, I hated that book. That was so stupid. It was dumb. It was poorly written, and I'm like, Katie Robert, you could do better. And I know you can because I read a lot of your books. Alright, then I read Oh, I read A Little Guy, The Kraken Sacrifice by, also by Katie Robert. Also don't know why I read that. That was terrible. And that solidified my DNF of this series because that was a no-go for me. And then I read A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. I also DNF'd this series because I just don't like it. And I cannot understand, I don't understand why people enjoy it. First of all, it's in third person, but it's like boring, number one. Number two, like why she wrote the same series, like one in like third person Hades and one in third person Persephone is awfully weird to me, and why there's more than one book is also awfully weird to me. I don't know, it's a lot, and I just did not like that book that much. But then I read Mile High by Liz Tomford. Now, is this my number one favorite book? No, but I did enjoy it. I had a good time, and I'm excited to read, well, I was excited at the time. I was very excited to continue this series, but I am excited for the next ones to come out because Liz Tomford definitely, like, she was on the up and up, man. Like, this was a good book, but the rest of them were oh my gosh, incredible. Alright, then last but not least, in August, I read Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. You guys know my obsession with this book. It is so good. I also want to reread this right now because this is an obsession. I'm addicted and I just can't get enough. I want to read more from Hannah Bonham Young, honestly, before I reread that, but in general, I love that book. So those are all the books I read up until August. I think it's like 69 books, 78, 72 books. Let me count them. I gotta count them on paper, though, because some of them I don't have in person, you know what I mean? 73 books. 73 books up until July. That's insane. That's a lot of books, especially because I started off with 5 books a month. I'm definitely, like, next year, my goal was to read 100 books this year, and I did that. I passed that. But, like, I honestly don't, like, I don't necessarily need to read a lot of books. I just want to enjoy a lot of books, and I felt like this year I definitely enjoyed a lot of these reads, and I'm really happy about that. Definitely might slow down a little bit just because, I don't know, just as how it's been going this month, December specifically, and like I don't want to like feel like I have to read 14, 15 books a month, because I definitely enjoy reading like, you know, 6 or 7 books a month because you get to spend time with a book, you know what I mean, like love on a book. So anyway, we'll see again this year, but also we have to still see part 2, so stay tuned for part 2. That is it for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you tomorrow for part 2. Bye, nerds.